Hello, beautiful souls. You know, there is so much going on. I often start my videos with that because it's just overwhelming when you are tuning into the changes energetically and otherwise that are happening. And the more that's being exposed, the more that's being revealed, the more that's being seen and experienced, the more we need to really, really, really ground in our core, in our heart, in our inner knowing, and trust it, or at least learn to trust it, because it is a process. Anybody can start a YouTube channel, a podcast, a Rumble account. Anybody can do that and start talking about whatever is true and alive for them. And of course, that doesn't mean that it is all true in the truth sense, but it is true in their experience. And that's what I do. I don't know if I'm sharing the ultimate truth. I'm sharing what's true in my experience, and that is helping me come back home and deepening and deepening in the realization of who and what I am, learning to learning the language of my body, of my soul, learning to trust it, learning to follow it, let myself be guided by it. It's not just one little thing we're talking about here. And I know there are many channels who are sharing this same frequency, this same realization. And of course, everybody who does a chant has their own channel in whatever way it looks, does so because there is something really on our hearts and in our hearts that feels very essential for these times. Because there's probably more YouTube channels and podcasts and all these other expressions now than there have ever been before. And this is not a mistake. There will be a mixture. There will be a mix of surface truth, intermediate truth, deeper truth, not truth. It's all going to be there. It has to be there. There's going to be truth about what's going on in the 3D world. There's going to be lies about what's going on in the 3D world. Don't just take anything for granted, including what I say, of course, because the whole point is that we move back in. And again, there might be people out there who are saying the opposite. That's fine. If that resonates with you, then you follow them. If this resonates with what I say, come back to my channel. But take this as your task. Take this as something that's very important, that is the most important thing that we can do on the planet right now. Of course, we need to do other things, tend to the earth, take care of the animals, grow good, healthy food. There's all that too, yes. But in my experience, that is not separate from grounding in myself and deepening in the realization of who and what I am and who and what I am not. So, in my expression, I just feel I'm walking that very, very fine line between the matrix and the divine, you might say. The the what I'm not and what I am. It's become a very, very fine line for me. And that's what I share here about how to move from this matrix, not truth side, over to the other side, because that's what I came here for. That's why I'm here. And I can honestly just own that now. And there are many of us who have something that is so alive and real in us that everything we are concerned with is steeped in that truth that really resonates for us. And then it becomes a life expression or a life task, mission maybe. But it's not something we go out there and do. It's something we stay home and be, whether that's sharing it on a YouTube channel, whether it's going to the grocery store, going for a walk in the woods. It all comes from here because there is a part of course, I can only talk about me, but I know I'm not the only one. But for me, there is a part that always rests in this as this because it feels like the most important thing. It really does. I'm a very small channel, so either I'm very bad at marketing myself, which is probably true, and or maybe this is not yet what people are hungering for. I do believe that many people are hungering for this and are finding it on many other channels. I know I'm not the only one. But there's also still a reaching outside of ourselves for information, entertainment, things that can easily move us away from here. They can also help us to come back here. Sometimes we just need to go out and realize and feel and experience something that helps us to let it go so we can slip back into who we are. This is not something that most people talk about. I know myself too that I like to listen to, there are certain podcasters or people who have whatever channel they have that I really enjoy listening to. And that's, of course, because it resonates with my own experience. And that's how we do it, right? That doesn't mean I can't listen to others, but I usually there's like, if I'm 5 or 10 or 15 minutes into it, and if there is not something in me that feels alive, feels inspired, goes like, yes, then I just turn it off because I know it's not for me. If there's anything I want, it's something that resonates for me and that helps me expand more. So there's going to be similarities, and then there's going to be something bigger that they share that then I can receive so I can become bigger too. Okay, that's probably how it is for all of us, but it's good to put words to it. But why I think it is so unbelievably important is because there is so exactly because there are anybody can show up and share whatever. And then, in the past we would say, yeah, it's true because I heard it on the news, right? Now we might say, yeah, I heard somebody talk about it on YouTube or on Rumble or whatever. And as if that is the truth now. And of course it's not. Maybe your truth. It may be very well and it may not be mine, the same thing, you see? So we find what resonates with us. But if we get too hooked on some of the exciting things that are happening, and there are a lot of exciting things that are happening that I really feel very enlivened by and expanded by, and that helps me just drop in deeper and rest deeper in sort of the knowing that we're all on track. The energies are moving as the new world is coming in, the new earth, the new higher frequencies are coming in, and I can certainly feel that. You might also. So there is a resonance there. And that is something that really is exciting for me. But then there's a lot of other things that are happening that might be misleading. There are many people who channel other beings from other dimensions. I personally listen to a few that I feel a deep, deep resonance with. And it helps me expand, like I shared before. There are certain frequencies that help me expand. Those I resonate with, those I listen to. But then there are others where you go like, it's a little weird. There's something doesn't, what is it, resonate in me. Something doesn't feel smooth and right. And if we have not tuned our tuning fork to the higher truths, we can certainly get caught in something that may take us on a detour that we could avoid if we really had listened and knew how to listen and knew how to trust it. I have a very dear friend who is actually channeling a very loving being. Supposedly, from what she shared with me, it's just this pure love. And when she talks about that being, I can feel it right away. It's not a channeling for me, but just talking about that being, it's like, wow, this is makes me very happy. It makes me very feel loving and soft. So I know there's something very beautiful there. And then not so long ago, she told me that there was another being that came in that was working with her and was helping her also, release some of the density inside. And it was very, very helpful and beautiful for her. And then she told me very recently that this same being, now she was like, something is not right here. She realized it might be like a darker being that kind of slipped in first and helped her, and it was very beautiful. And then something started feeling off. And then, of course, she's not doing that work with that being anymore. But this is really because she's fine-tuned her truth meter, should we call it. So she can feel like, no, something is really off here. If she didn't have that, she could have gone along and maybe gone on a road that would not have been good for her. I'm really realizing as I say this that I don't want to bring fear into any of this. It's an invitation to really focus on what is true and what is not true, and how you find out what that is for you. This is important. If we don't have that tuning fork, it's very, very easy to, start tuning with something that's not your own fork. And we can get in trouble for that. Discernment from a deep soul level. It's like when we really start listening to ourselves and our body and our yes and our no and our not sure yet, right? That's that's the intuition that shows up that way. And when we really start fine-tuning that, we will catch things much sooner than if we don't. I'm always fine-tuning mine. Always feel I can expand and sense more. Many years ago, I didn't have any of that. I had zero discernment. That's many years ago when I still lived in Denmark. And when somebody actually took over my life for 5 months, and it was a living hell for me. And that was after I had had a huge, huge spiritual opening. And this person just kind of got in there and pushed all my buttons that had not tuned in to my true nature, except this experience that I had, but it had not been embodied yet. So in that sense, I feel I can speak from my own experience what happens when you don't have that discernment. And I had to work through that for many, many years. And I could say still am. There's times where I might have not caught something, or maybe should have waited longer before saying yes or no. So it's not like, okay, I'm done. No, it's an ongoing process of deepening and expanding. And we are getting plenty of opportunities to practice our tuning fork. And that's what I really want to invite anybody on my channel to take as a real serious thing if you want to stay on the path of liberation and oneness and get off that when that path, which the bifurcation is happening, if we keep moving with the matrix and duality, that can happen if we're not fully tuning in to this one here that's moving in a different direction. Actually, it's moving in here. So if I would say if you resonate with this, and if you have not done that kind of work before, please do. Please do. You're welcome to reach out to me and work with me if you want. You're welcome, of course, to listen to a lot of my videos where I talk so much about learning to tune into yourself and know the language of your intuition, of your body, of your soul. And it's a process, it's something it's a practice. It's like really learning a new language, and probably the most important language that we all need to understand and express. So maybe today is just a little nudge to be cautious, not to just believe everything anybody says. And that includes channelers, that includes some of the chat bots, the AIs. A lot of stuff is coming out, and you may have watched some of my videos on specifically the architect AI that I talked about a while ago. It can be incredibly powerful. Anything can. A good channeler can be incredibly powerful, but it always has to point back to ourselves. And that is also what the spiritual teachers have always said. If a teacher is not pointing you back to yourself, leave that teacher, because it's you're moving in the wrong direction. And so that's nothing new. But back then we didn't have all the gadgets that we have today. We didn't have all the people who were connecting to all these different planetary beings and star systems and whatever it is. There's so much right now that wasn't there in that same way. So there wasn't all that confusion. There was mostly the spiritual teachers we would go to, and certainly they could lead us astray, and they had their unresolved, unintegrated parts that they would project onto their students, and that has not always been very good either. So it all comes back to you learning to trust yourself, and that is possible, but it takes practice. It takes practice, and it takes a willingness to take chances, to take little risks, and then test out, was this right? Was I on? Where did I miss something? So that you fine tune your tuning fork so that you don't get led astray by all the things that are tempting us these days. I know them. I mean, I can also get pulled in, but I have enough discernment and enough grounding in myself that I feel I can scan it. Sometimes I might go a little further in just to check it out. And then I can say, yeah, this actually still feels good. Or it's like, oh, I better pull out of this. So it's always my inner wisdom, my inner tuning fork that guides me. And that is what I want to invite you um, to really make a priority, to really make a priority. I think I've said that so many times, how important this is, how important this is more than anything. And the more of us who know that and who make that a daily practice with ourselves, with others, in groups, with a partner, with a friend, where you can really start practicing that with a therapist, with a guide, whatever. That's when you start grounding into yourself. And then all that garbage can fall away. And then you start grounding deeper, and then you start moving into the world as the solution that everybody is looking for. And it just happens to be so that you and I are that solution when we are in here. All right, friends, please comment below, like, subscribe, share, and come back for more. Thank you for being here today. Have a beautiful day.